It's What If Wednesday time with Susan Bennett Fisher and Martin Fisher, the co-founders of Body of Nine. What if you knew what to do after you got identified? One of the things that we run into is people get identified and they come and say, well, what's next? So what? So that's what we're going to talk about today. What if you knew what to do with your natural number and your knowledge of your body and the way it's activated and informed?
And there's kind of a little bit of a catch-22 here, because knowing what to do with your natural number once it's identified, knowing what to do with who you are, is quite closely connected to, firstly, what is your natural number, because there's 9 different ways of looking at things, but also, what are you looking for? And we hope to spend some time today helping you understand how you can use this and what resources are going to be available to you, or are available to you, that will let you go down your path, whatever that path is. And we're going to spend some time talking about how can we help you understand what your path is by helping and activating your natural number.
So people come to us to find out their natural number for a wide variety of reasons. And they don't necessarily know what or why or where they're there some of the time. And sometimes they have a very specific curiosity. And some people feel a call into this work.
Yes, there's everything from, well, my friend told me about it, to, wow, all of a sudden this advert came up 7 times and I thought, wow, it sounds like it's interesting, to, I don't know why I'm here, to, I came here because I really want to learn more about how to have a better relationship. But there's so much more to what the Body of Nine gives you than just the amazing ability to have better relationships.
So it starts a progression, a learning progression, a path. When you first are identified, it's as if a part of your body is activated consciously for the first time. You've activated it many, many times over the course of your life without consciously understanding that you're doing it. So it's something that's built into us. And from the time we're born to the time we die, it is essentially the main way in which our body takes in information and does things. And it shapes what we care about, who we are, all these aspects of who we are and who we want to be, and how we are in relationship and what we care about. And so you start this activation, and it begins the journey that you're on from that point forward.
So one way to think about it is that you're just about to take an amazing cross-country journey between one side of the country where you currently live to the other side of the country where you want to be. And you're sitting in your car, and the first thing you realize is there's no music. Because as it turns out, you have no ability to tune to any of the 9 radio stations that are out there. And the first thing that happens when you get identified, you get to actually listen to that radio station that is most closely connected to who you are.
And if that doesn't make any sense, don't worry. There are 9 centers in our body, 9 ways of receiving and interpreting information. When you're born, one is born active. That's your natural number. As Martin says, it's on, but it's not tuned. So the act of finding out your natural number is the act of tuning
to that
your receiver, such that it can actually get the static out of the communication. Once that's done, now you can listen more clearly with that channel. And that begins a change in you, because your observer is now available to you.
Your personal magic is now available to you.
Subconsciousness around what to do with your body in order to recover when you get triggered or upset is now available to you.
And your ego starts to relax a little bit. It's still there looking after you. It knows that there's more to come if you wish to pursue it. But it's actually, normally we find that people get to be happier and feel more in alignment and more on their path. Whether it's, because of their natural numbers been identified, or various other things that have happened to coincidentally happened at the same time. Almost everybody that has their natural number identified tells us afterwards, within 6 months, a year, that they feel happier, they feel more in alignment, and they've started to make decisions that support them rather than support other people.
But that's part of the progression. So the first thing you do is you need to sleep on your identification. It's very hard to talk about or make any sense of it right afterwards. There's an integration that has to happen, that seems to happen when you sleep. Then when you wake up the next day, you can start to research it. You can read all the amazing resources that we have available for you. We have 2 books. One that's our current complete description of Body of Nine. It's called Body of Nine, Decode Your Physiology and Discover Your True Self.
I sometimes call it the Encyclopedia Body of Nineca, but that's just me.
And then we're republishing our second edition of our first book that was originally called Nine Energies, Practices for Presence, and we're going to republish that as Body of Nine Practices for Presence. And that book talks about what you actually should do once you find out your natural number. There's a learning and awareness progression that starts with your identification. So the first thing that we recommend people do is learn as much as you can about your body and how it's equipped and how it works. So for me as a 6, I spent actually years learning about what does it mean to be a 6? How do I expand and lift my chest? How do I bring the fullness of my physical power to the world around me? How do I use the connection to my deepest self through my body when things are challenging? So I spent many, many years in the initial research of this subject, learning about myself, which I think is really the first step.
Yes, and it's very much a series of steps to learn how you and your body live together.
Right.
Because as natural number 5, I sort of sit upright and feel a better connection to my egg, or whatever your word is for who you are. And it's a very physical thing to do. And whether or not you feel totally connected to your body or inhabiting your body or whatever your position is with your body, it is how we get our data.
Right. I sometimes like to call it our spacesuit. Your spacesuit is equipped a very specific way, and you have to learn how to use your spacesuit.
And it may be controversial, but as a natural number 5, I tend to believe that a lot of my processing does not happen in here. It happens
around.
So, but there is still this physical component, and anything to do with physicality takes practice.
Yes.
You can read as much as you like about how to play tennis, but unless you go out on the court and start hitting balls, you're not going to be that good at tennis. You may understand it, but you're not going to be good at it.
Right. The body has to learn and integrate.
And it's the integration between all the parts of you.
Right. Which leads to, so the first step is find out as much as you can about yourself. Practice your own exercise. Learn to activate your body. Work with people to understand. Tell people about your natural number so you get familiar with what it feels. And you're beginning to discern the difference between your nature and your nurture. And that's very, very valuable because it's very hard to change our nature, but our nurture is actually pretty easy to change once identified and understood. So if you have habits, you have practices, you have trauma, you have things that have happened to you, they take you off the center of who you are. And this brings you back to your center. So this is about a practice of returning to yourself over and over again through the awareness of your body.
And because your parents, your friends, and the people around you, your brothers and sisters, don't share the same natural number that you do, no matter how much they care for you, they've never been able to honor that deep integral part.
Or have any clue about how you actually experience life, or understand your motivations and your reasons for things. And this is the next phase, is learning about the others. For in order to know yourself, you have to know the other 8, because otherwise you have no context. And there's most of us have, before knowing this, a belief that we're all basically similar in terms of how our senses function and how we take in information and what we care about. And we think, well, if you could just be a little bit more like me, you'd be okay, but you're really a pain in the neck. And so we don't really see each other and understand the gift that's being offered and the skills that are available when we really truly support and listen to another person, body-wise. So the first step, know yourself. The second step is begin to learn about the others. And that can be done by reading the book. That can be done by talking to people who know their natural number, asking them questions, comparing, talking, and learning about the language that each natural number uses. It's really important to understand that a lot of the key words that we use to describe our realities don't have the same meaning. Words like intuition, energy, engagement, connection, authenticity, the core words that we use to describe what we want more of in our life is actually very, very different natural number to natural number. For 5, intuition is this combination of making leaps in understanding by bringing together intuition, knowledge, and intellect. And then for me as a 6, I feel the truth that's vibrating in the energy, and that's my intuition. Very different. And he doesn't know how to tap my intuition the way I do, and vice versa. I don't make those same kind of intuitive leaps that you make. So each of us has our own definition of what those words mean. The 1, 2, 3s, and 4s care deeply about relationship. Everybody cares about relationship, but they are actually driven to create it. Whereas 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is actually driven to use creativity to construct reality. And 1, 2, 3, 4 starts relationship, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 use relationship to get things done. Really a different approach to life. So the learning about how those approaches are different and varied in the language is a really important part of understanding who you are, the value you bring, and the gift that you offer.
So let's take a breath and then think about, so what? Well, okay, now that you know a lot about yourself, now that you've gained some consciousness about your nature and your nurture, you can start, if you wish to, and various people approach their journey of life differently. In fact, everyone approaches their life differently. Then you can start to look at, well, what are my beliefs? How are my beliefs shaped by my nurture? How are my beliefs shaped by my nature? And you can very, very easily, with just a little bit of conscious effort, start to examine those things. And we'll go into these in a little more detail in a second by exposing some parts of the book. But there is a more easier way to do it. And this is something that we're going to start emphasizing, I think, over the next few months, is that while you can work on yourself by looking at yourself as your own natural number and learning about the steps that we'll share with you, there is an easier way. And that easier way is to start to understand about the other 8 natural numbers.
Through your body.
Through your body. So actually having the experience about how the rest of the world experiences their part of reality, because it's different than yours. And until you've had the first couple of experiences, intellectually you may say, yes, okay, I understand, Martin, you're saying they're different. But the magnitude of that difference is indescribable.
It really is. It'll blow you away. So each of the natural numbers uses a different set of muscles, bones, and fascia and intention to create a very particular activation that affects the senses and affects the frequency. So it's like tuning the radio to any one of 9 frequencies by using your body. This is really profound because right now, all you have is one radio station that's got a lot of static. So the first step is tune that static. The next step is learning the breadth of information that's available if you tune the other 8. So the learning to activate and consciously use the whole body, not just your natural number, starts to expand your ability to perceive, your ability to take in information, your ability to be with people, and every aspect of your life starts to improve, evolve, and who you become grows beyond anything you could have imagined.
So we're quite serious when we say, if you really, really want to grow, and while there's literally thousands of resources to help you grow just by knowing who you are, knowing the entirety of who you are makes it easier, because that way your beautiful, wonderful mind is not doing all the work.
Yes.
Your body starts to help. And there's 8 different other parts of you that really, really would love to be part of who you are, the ability to integrate all of you, not just your core, common, most powerful natural number, is an amazing, life-changing experience. It takes a while. It's a physical process.
Yeah.
But it changes your life in a way that you don't have to think your way into changing. Your body's going to help you change. We find that when people can activate all 9, their lives change. Their egos no longer need to be a protector. They become a partner. It is an amazing place to go. And really, it's hard to overestimate the impact that knowing all and having the ability to activate all the 9 in your body has on your life.
Yep. And we don't even know.
No.
I mean, I've had all 9 active in my body now for 9 years.
Me too.
And every year I continue to grow and evolve in ways I didn't anticipate. You know, we're not perfect. No. We're not gurus. We're not, spiritual leaders. We're just people that are experimenting with all of our being.
It doesn't change how how we act to a large extent, but it does change how we react. It changes how we respond. It changes how we learn. It changes our ability to be with other people.
Yeah.
It changed our entire life, understanding how to activate all nine in our body. And it enables us to be the observers and the teachers of this work because we have all nine. I do not believe it is possible to identify other people, and Susan, I think,
Accurately, yes.
to identify other people accurately unless you have all nine in your body. Not just because of the ability to see it, but the ability to empathize, the ability to connect with another person.
To feel it.
Yes.
And to support it in them. So unless you know it's there and you know what you're looking for and you know how to bring it out in a person, you can't really truly identify somebody, because most of us don't know how to bring this out in ourselves until we're aware of it.
And for those of you that have done teaching in the past, or done training in the past, you know the best way to learn a subject is to teach it. And so if you really, really, really are curious about how to be part of that evolutionary next step, and this sounds weird, it sounds way over the top, but I firmly believe that this is an evolutionary step. The ability to activate all nine our bodies is part of our ability as human beings to evolve.
And this we'll talk a lot more about in our topic at the end of the month about why this is important.
So,
but let's circle back around to closer to the beginning for people.
Yes, and
my book.
Wendy has asked a question.
Oh, what does Wendy ask?
Wendy says, can we show everyone the way the body looks for different natural numbers?
We could.
Yes, I think it's a great idea.
Right. So we'll demonstrate what it looks like in our bodies when we activate different natural numbers. So you can see that the body changes with the activations. So we'll just go 1 through 9, huh?
Absolutely. That's a good idea.
So 1 is a stretch in the back of the neck, a slight raise of the chin, and a softening of the eyes. And it is opening your heart to another person, allowing them to see you, and you see them. It is a beautiful connection where you have a sense of your value at the level of source. 2 is about being with somebody just where they are and the ease of that. So the upper rectus abdominis muscles become firm and taut, the eyes become bright and clear.
And as an example of how it changed the senses, normally as natural number 5, I have complete 360 awareness. When my natural number 2 is active, there is nothing except me and the person in front of me.
And it's much harder to look at the camera when my 2 is active. I don't want to. I want to look at you. Yeah.
Which takes us to 3, where we can look at the camera because we're about inspiring people.
It's a lift at the upper sternum.
Yep.
A focus with the eyes and the body.
And joy.
And then the shining of the soul's joy out into the world. So the smile is just full and it's lovely. And when people look at you like this, it is great.
It is great.
Then 4. 4 is about...
And it's down here. Your bed.
The lower abdomen. And it's about dropping inside, connecting into our life force energy, coming back out and being with people.
And you notice
deep connected place.
how our pace changes, our words become warmer. It's a lovely place to be.
You can be inside like Martin, or you can be out like I am right now. But the out is very different than the 1 and 2 and 3 connection. It's all about asking people to be the authentic self in the truest sense of what that means. No acts, just straightforward you. And then 5, ooh,
Yeah.
Connect up from the top of your head. It's a stretch. And then allowing the head to suspend you and the rest of the body relaxes.
There's a tension between the top of my head and the infinite source of power that's available to us all, but 5s connect to. And everything becomes actually more clear. Everything becomes calm. Everything's differentiated. There's a framework that comes together. And to some extent, there's an instant observer that happens at the same time as the player.
Yeah. And then if we move to 6 is a big lifted expansion of the chest. I am a 6, so you can see how high my chest is. It's high on my body. If I wasn't a 6 I wasn't activated, the chest drops quite low. But as a 6, it's lifted and expanded. So the muscles lift and expand. And from that place, You can find out what's going on in this minute right now. It's about becoming present, using the vibrational energy present in the moment. Sixes don't have to work to be present. All the practices that are out there about asking us to get more present, sixes get confused. Like, well, what do you mean more present? I am present, except if I'm spinning in my head like that. What?
7.
Oh, okay. Anyway, back on to 7. 7 is the forehead. It's activated by a connection from the frontalis muscles with focus on the glabella. The eyes turn up, in, and look out into the infinite space. And stillness gets created. The eyes change to have an infinite quality. And then 8 is about connecting down into the earth and using the earth as a way of filling your body with energy and power, balancing and grounding yourself into earth.
Becoming resolute and ready to act.
Knowing what who needs to be involved, what order, and how to do things with integrity so they last. With trust, build trust in relationship.
And then, which takes us to
9. Which is on the spine between the shoulder blades. So you can roll your shoulders up and around and back, and then your shoulder blades kind of set into the middle of your back at T6 and T7. So it's like, I like to do that, and then I can feel them kind of come together on the back of my spine. And then remembering to breathe and not do any of this work with force, but to just be in the fullness of our universal experience.
And see the sights. Our ability.
Your peripheral vision expands.
Just amazing.
And energetically, your awareness expands to wherever you want to place it, as large as the universe.
So those are the 9. Now we'll spend a little time talking about how to use your internal power.
Yeah, hand me that book. So this is the book I wrote 5 years ago. Still really relevant. The second half of this book is about our practices for presence and creation. We're all working to be more present. We're all working to be in our fullness. We're all hoping that we can have the impact that we came here at some level to have.
Hope so.
Yeah. And if that's not for you, that's okay. Try something else.
We're all on our path. Each of us has our own path, and we're just here to support that path. And by knowing our natural number, we're going to make the assertion that we firmly believe it will help you on your path.
So the steps, identification turns on your observer. Your observer is this ability to watch and observe your behavior without involving yourself in it, without getting lost in the behavior. It's very easy when we get triggered to get lost in our behavior and not actually be able to observe our behavior. But activating your natural number lets you observe your behavior. So you have choices about how you want to behave. Behavior comes from our natural number and our life experiences and what we've been taught and our traumas, and all these things develop our behaviors. Behind our behaviors are belief systems. So with this active observer, you can bring your curiosity into your life in a new way. Being curious about yourself, being curious about other people, being curious about what's happening in the moment. Once we have our curiosity going, it's about observing without having any judgments. That means placing people above or below.
Or even judging yourself in that manner.
Right. And I'm not saying judgment in terms of making a decision. I'm talking about, again, placing above or below. Making a statement of, oh, she's so pretty. You without even thinking about it, you have now at some level either put yourself above or below that level that you established. So just noticing our judgments. From there, it's about holding our ideas and our beliefs as possibilities instead of as truth.
So the more lightweight you hold a particular belief or position, the easier it is to change that.
Right. So our deep-seated beliefs are really challenging. And they come from our world around us, from our teachers, from so many places. And we develop them as habits. Yeah. So our beliefs create habits. that may or may not serve us.
Because we talk to people and it's like, well, I've read all these self-help books, and every time I read a book, I can kind of understand some of them. Some of them make no sense to me, but I keep reading, and no matter how much I read, I don't change.
Right. On one version resonates and another doesn't. But that resonated for my friend, but it doesn't resonate for me. That's because they are essentially 1/9 of the totality of possibility for us as humans.
And they're not talking about how to have your body help you make the change.
Right.
Because we inhabit our bodies. Anything that's just up here is not going to work. I'm sorry, it just isn't. It has to be integrated into all parts of you. To some extent, that's why some of the more body-based natural numbers, the people that write the self-help books from the body-based side, actually have some success because they're actually talking about working with your body to change, not
Right.
just their body.
That's why things like meditation and yoga can be very useful, because you're actually working with your body. And anything that's involving posture, the alignment of our bodies naturally align themselves around the activation of our center. So any practice that you have that involves alignment of the body, strengthening of the body, is going to help you bringing yourself more aware and present.
For example, you may be doing yoga and you may find that some things are really easy for you to do and other postures are very difficult. And your friend that's right next to you may find completely different things easy and difficult. That's because you're different natural numbers.
And those, our natural number is where we embody our movements. So it's the center of balance in our bodies. So there's 3 in the head, 3 in the chest, and 3 in the torso. You're going to move and do things very differently depending on which one's active. So circling back, presence, getting present, activate your observer, get curious, notice your judgments, let go of them, and start to hold your ideas and belief systems as possibilities. That's the first half of what you should do once you find out what you're able to do once you find out your natural number. And then it's about, well, how do I actually do things and make things?
How do I make change?
Yeah. Intention is really important there. A lot of talk about clarifying and stating intentions, and those intentions become manifest. Really important to be clear around your intentions.
And that's true also for learning to activate the other 8 places in your body. There's 2 steps. What are the muscles? We'll teach you that. And what are the intentions? Having an intention to activate that center is really, really important.
Yes. So intention, and then non-attachment. Mm-hmm. What happens is we stayed in an intention and we expect it to manifest in the way we thought it was going to manifest. Well, it turns out the universe has 2 things. It will get around to it, and it has a sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
And your job is to recognize those gifts from the universe when they fall into your lap. They don't always look the way you expect them to.
And for those of you who can hear it, there was a big crash outside when we were talking about that. So the universe's sense of humor just showing up again.
And then the other piece is courage.
Courage is the tough one.
Oh my God, you have to be brave to keep showing up.
And to change.
Yeah.
This work, as much as many other work, will take you out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And learning and accepting that change in comfort very, very quickly after accepting that change and accepting the lack of comfort, you'll be surprised how comfortable you'll get being in the other eight natural numbers.
Right. Because you have to actually give over your normal way of being in order to activate another part of your body. And that can be really scary at first.
Yes, we had a situation where I was helping natural number 8 activate number 5, and she spent so much time in her 8-ness body that when she activated 5, she couldn't connect her body and basically, crumpled to the ground very safely. But it was difficult for her, having been body based, to all of a sudden not be as connected to her body. But very quickly she got into 5, then can now activate all 9, and loves being able to have different parts of her body doing different things. It's exciting.
It is exciting. And then you have to take wise action. So if you set an intention and you courageously go out and have no attachment, you actually still have to do things. So, you have to get out there and actually make things happen. That's an important part of manifestation. So if you say, I want to be rich, and you tell the universe you want to be rich, well, if you don't do something that's going to make you rich, you're not going to get rich. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Well,
at least buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, at least buy the lottery ticket, exactly. And then the last piece is a great place to end, which is all of creation is powered by love. And when we choose love in all of our interactions, it moves forward in positive direction.
Everybody out there is a human being just like you.
Struggling, wishing, hoping.
And most of them aren't like you because they don't share the same natural number.
So their bodies don't know what your body knows. You have a gift, you are a gift. They have a gift, they are a gift. And in consciously choosing love towards other people at all times enables you to receive their gifts.
The idea that everybody around you is a gift to you is very, very important.
It's very powerful as well.
It's very powerful. It changes your life. It changes the life of the people around you. The people around you are gifts
Yes. And you're a gift.
to them.
Yes.
If you don't
And-
show up as who you are, you're not giving your gift.
Yep. It's not neutral not to be you. You have a purpose, and this is where your purpose starts. This is the place from which you find your purpose.